Hello, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts, UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And I have got a second Simple Stamping Saturday for this summer project. And I'm using the Bamboo Beauty stamp set. I think it's one of the ones that's missed, but it is great for quick cards. It's great for masculine cards. So I'm going to show you my quick and easy card, which is this. So 2 colours of ink. I've got Crumb Cake and Soft Suede, and I'm actually ending up with 3 shades of brown because the leaves are soft shade stamped off. This is full strength, this is full strength Crumb Cake, and then, as I say, soft suede stamped off. So I'm using vanilla as my card base. Oh, and I've also stamped on the envelope because Simple Stamping Saturday requires stamping on the envelope. Very vanilla note card. They come in a pack with 20 note cards, 20 envelopes. Really good for quick cards. Let me get started. And I would like to have the card I'm doing in front of me. So I leave everything flat at this stage. I've mounted my 2 long bits of bamboo. These are on eye blocks, and it's to get that whole length. I'm going to start with the wider of the 2 pieces of bamboo. And what I like to just do, once I've inked, is to make sure I haven't got any total gaffs as far as over inking, because if you rock, and this is a narrow stamp, you can end up catching the edge of your stamp. You don't kind of want that, because you don't want to ruin your nice card. Whoops, I'm going this way, aren't I? So here's the crease. I find with a long stamp it's much easier to do it this way rather than trying to hold something that's long and thin. It's much easier to hold something that is short and fat. So just stamp that down, give it a chance for the ink to transfer, and then there we are, we've got our lovely bamboo. And then this one, again, same deal, ink it up and then check that there's nothing particularly down the sides. And then this one is going to overlap very slightly, because we want that whole, bamboo, although they are bamboo canes are straight, they do tend to grow across each other. So that's the look I'm going for. And there we go. So those are our 2 bits of crumb cake. So I don't need my crumb cake anymore. What I do need is a piece of scrap paper. Here's a piece of scrap paper, and you can see I've been playing with it with the bamboo already. So soft suede, I'm going to use the larger of the bamboo leaves first. Now obviously you can introduce colour if you want. I'm just going to stamp that off, which looks like that. And so yes, you could introduce colour if you wanted. I like the monochrome sepia look. So it's definitely a different colour to the crumb cake, but it's the same level of tone. So it's not as intense as full strength soft suede would be. So again, I'm going to stamp off, and that's a very quick movement. And then I'm going to come in. What I'm going to try and do is line up the bottoms with one of these lines. It's not going to be that easy because obviously it's a red rubber, not a photopolymer, so it's not so easy to see through. But we'll give it a go. And it's worked, so that's good. So it looks like they're growing out of that seam. And then the final thing we need to do for our card is the sentiment, and I've got grateful for all that you do. So I'm going to ink that up in soft squats. I can't talk. Soft suede. What's soft suede? Soft suede. And just stamp that as straight as I can get it onto the card. Now, I mount my sentiments crooked on my stamp. That way I concentrate on the stamp and not on the edges of the block, because if you put your stamp straight onto your block, if it's not straight, you are going to be tempted to look at the edges if it's not absolutely straight, and you could end up with it being crooked on your card. That's just a little tip from me. So that's the last soft suede I need. And then for the envelope, making sure we know which way up the envelope is, always a good idea. I'm going to bring back in crumb cake, and I'm going full strength crumb cake, and I'm using the little Chinese, Japanese symbol. Now the label is quite square in the stamp, but the stamp is to the top right hand corner, so I'm going to bear that in mind. It's just the way that sometimes they are cut out of the rubber, but if you know that that's what's happening, you can bring your stamp down a bit and they more or less line up. So that is my simple stamping project. Let me just tidy away a little bit, and then I will fold my card and show you how I've stepped it up and talk through those stepped up cards. So we fold this, and with our bone folder just burnish. I like to burnish from the back, and there is our card. So as you can see, it's basically the same card. So card, envelopes. So if I leave one of those there and bring in my stepped up versions, my first stepped up version is this, which is exactly the same layout with exactly the same inks, but I have introduced full-size A4 cards. So this is thick, very vanilla. Then the smooth, very vanilla for the stamping. And then I've got soft suede and early espresso mats on this to mount this layer. And then I've brought in some of the genial gems, which I am loving, by the way. These are supposedly pale papaya. They just look a bit golden. The other colour is mint macaron, which is... So these are in a... I used these for my team retreat recently, so I had a few bits left over. So they are a definite green, whereas these are more of a gold, but I love these. These work on greens, they work on aquas, and they've just got that little bit of glitter. And coming back in the new mini, which will be available beginning of August, I think they're called Wonderful Gems, which are the red and gold version of the same thing. So that's my first stepped up version. My second stepped up version is this, where I have used copper and gold embossing. I've kept the stamp the same because it's quite a fine font. Embossing can sometimes lose some of the definition of the words, so I've left that in soft suede. I've mounted it on some of the rose gold, what do we call this? Metallic specialty paper. So this is the bit from the middle, so I gutted it. But isn't that gorgeous? And it's not copper, but it's that same slight rosy finish. So that's on the rose gold and, again, early espresso. And I popped some black dimensionals just to lift it up a bit. And I brought the Wonderful Gems, not only from here, sorry, Genial Gems, not only here, but also up here, just because you can. And if you're a more avid crafter, you're going to want to use more bits. So there we are. Quick and simple. We are at 9 minutes, and I've waffled for quite a lot of that. So quick and simple, stepped up and stepped up again. This one doesn't take terribly long because it is only basically the same thing, just with extra layers. This one obviously takes a little longer. I did the copper embossing first. So I stamped and then did the copper embossing and then did the gold over the top. It's just easier to see where you're going if you do it in 2 bits. And I find that the gold doesn't like being heated too often, whereas the copper is more robust. So putting the copper on first meant that I only had to heat the gold once. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe by hitting the bottom right hand corner subscription button. I will obviously have this on my website today. The link to that will be in the description bar below, and I'll have a list of what I've used also in the description over on my website, sorry. If you want any items from Stamping Up and you're in the UK, there is a link to my online store in the description bar. Thank you very much indeed for joining me today. Have a fantastic weekend. I hope that the weather is kind to you. It's going to be fairly wet where we are, but hey, good for the plants. Have a super weekend, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!